Hi, I'm Tiffany, and this week's book talk is The Hollow Sun by DL Wainright. Now this, as it says on the book, this is a modern dark fantasy. Now, it pretty much takes place in kind of a modern day setting, and it is extremely well written. So this is hands down, no issue for me, a 5-star on Goodreads and Amazon. Now, if you don't want to get spoiled, I'm going to give a quick synopsis on what this is about, but after that, I suggest you quickly leave the video so you don't get spoiled, but I strongly recommend you get your own copy, because this is a really, really good book. Now, as for the quick synopsis, this entire story revolves around Lucy, a 17-year-old girl who quickly finds out that there's more to her modern day world than she thinks. She finds out that her friends are something she never imagined they would be, and she quickly realizes who to trust and who she can't trust. Now, that's about as far as I'm going to go to with the synopsis, because this is a really good read. It's a really good page turner. I strongly recommend reading it. I have just finished reading it, so that's why the cover is kind of doing that. But I, once again, strongly recommend you go get it. And there is a second book coming out called Fractured Masks, and I don't know when it's going to come out, but I can't wait because this is so good. Now, if you don't want to get spoiled and you really like dark fantasy books, go over to Amazon. I'll put a link in the description and you can go buy a physical copy or a Kindle edition. Either way, go get a copy. It is really good. And I will see you in my next video. This book follows Lucy and her three friends, Jim, Eva, and Gunter. And, well, Lucy kind of figures out rather quickly that her modern day life isn't so modern. She finds out that there are vampires and werewolves all over the place, even witches, and so she is forced to make a decision to either remember everything that she has just found out or forget everything and continue living on. Now, she finds out something about her friends who are siblings, Eva and Gunter, and they are what they call the supernaturals, which Eva and Gunter are half werewolf, half bird-like monster from Japan. But they are half and half, and and they can shift into a werewolf like their father, but they also have wings like their mother. But the wings, they can't really shift, but they can conceal them, and so that's helpful. But in this, as Lucy finds out what her friends really are and accepts them, and no problem whatsoever, Jim has a bit of a hard time grasping the concept, but he is all aboard, all or nothing pretty much. And so that's kind of what I like about the Jim character, even though in the story you can see that he's a tad stubborn at times, especially when he's absolutely sure of something that he's not actually sure of. The choice that they were given, well, that Lucy and Jim were given when they found out about the supernaturals, because they are nons mean human, they are given the option to join the Gehilden, or to erase their memories and not remember anything about the supernaturals, which, looking at it, they are given this option after they find out what Eva and Gunther really are, and that just kind of seems like if they had chosen to forget, that would be hurting their friends more than anyone else. So I'm really glad that they chose to join the Gilden, and, you know, actually fight. Now, what they're fighting is not just every and any supernatural being. What they're fighting against is anyone who breaks the treaty. The treaty is pretty much to have like all the supernatural clans work together, get along, but those who break the treaty get hunted down or get executed by the Gehilden, which for a vampire, whether it's a Strigoi, a Rome's, or a Romans, or anything like that, this is actually very fascinating how they do it. They have to find where the vampire is buried, they have to create a fire, and then they have to remove the heart, burn the heart first, and then disassemble the entire body and set it to flame. I thought it was a really good way to execute all the vampires, you know, the Strigoi and all those. And in here you actually find out that there are multiple types of vampires and werewolves. Don't ask me to name any of the werewolves because they're written in here beautifully, but I will murder their names. But in this, like in the beginning, Eva's parents are on the fence about telling Lucy and Jim about what's really going on in the world. Like her father is a werewolf and his clan has signed the treaty, so it's to protect, you know, the Nons, to, you know, keep the supernatural living a secret. But her mother wants to tell them. And so because of that, the entire family's on the fence. And when the father goes to tell them, and, you know, he actually kind of wants to tell them, he decides not to tell them. And so later on that night, Eva and Gunther takes into their own hands and reveals to them what they truly are, and desperately hopes that they accept them. Thankfully they do. As the story goes along, you can tell that Lucy's character is gaining more confidence with what she's doing, but she's also strongly questioning what's going on, as she starts getting nightmares from what's called a Mara, which is a creature that causes nightmares and kind of sits on your chest at night and causes nightmares, to the point you have to have a certain incense lit or the lights on to keep it away so you can get a good sleep at night. So that's the only thing you can do with that. But it's such an interesting read because it goes into like the history of like the vampires and the werewolves, and it just goes into the general history of all the families, and you actually find out, well, you start getting like hints that maybe Lucy's more than a non. Like, you can tell Donnie isn't really a non because he's so calm about what's going on, to the point one night Lucy forgot to light the incense, and she got another visit from the Mara. He turns on the light, wakes up Lucy while standing in the door, and just says, you forgot to light the incense." And so he explained how he knows, he explains, you know, who told him and everything. And it's very interesting because you start questioning, is Lucy a non, or is she supernatural? What about Mike, her older brother, you know? And so it's such an interesting read, and it's such a gripping tale. So that's probably going to be it for all I say, because I really don't want to say much more. But I strongly recommend it. You know, go get a copy. You know, like, really, go get a copy. Go read it. I cannot wait when the next book comes out. I'm actually going to go buy my own copy of this because I'm borrowing my sister's. But yeah, I strongly, strongly recommend it, and I could not be happier with this book. I thought it was going to be slow. I really thought it was going to be slow, but once it picked up, it kicked in. There will be a link to get this book in the description below. I strongly recommend you go get one, and once you're done reading it, tell me what you think of the book. Do you think it deserves 5 stars? No. What's your favorite part about the book? What did you enjoy about reading about the book? And if you have read it, and you don't really care, and you're looking for someone who's read the book and so on, let me know. What do you think of this book? Are you agreeing with me that it's a 5 out of 5 across the board, or what's your favorite part? Let me know in the comment down below, and I will see you next Monday for another book talk, and this Thursday with another video. Happy reading!